pray, please, for tonight. Who is going to say the prayer?
With you is Duncan and Georgia Patterson, and they're both members of Grandview 4-H Club. And Duncan's going to say the pledge, and Georgia's going to say the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, I thank you for allowing us all together here tonight, and I pray for your wisdom over everyone here and safe travels when we depart. In your name, amen.
Amen.
We're now calling the meeting to order. If you got a cell phone, please turn it off. If you wish to speak, hold your hand and wait till you're recognized. Would you call the roll, Ms. Connie?
Jack Eaton,
Here.
Chuck Olson,
Here.
Terry Carroll,
Here.
Marty Johnson,
Here.
Matt Phillips,
Here.
Craig Hicks,
Here.
Kelly Mack,
Here.
Don McNeely,
Here.
Roger Paul,
Here.
Mary Swofford,
Here.
John Howerton.
Here.
Like they're all present. Next item of business is disposition of journal proceedings of previous minutes. If there's not any corrections or additions, I entertain a approve. Larry moves approve. Chuck second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next item of business is changes to the agenda. Yeah.
I'd like under miscellaneous, to add the sheriff as D under miscellaneous.
Keep it in that order, and we'll go down. Any objections? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is public comments. Do we have any public comment? If not, we'll move on to miscellaneous. Ms. Kelly, would you want to?
Yeah, we just had Tammy Allen and Lisa Patterson with the 4-H, since this is National 4-H Month. Let's get them here. Okay. In 4-H, we believe in the power of young people. We see that every child has valuable strengths and real influence to improve our community with the skills to lead for a lifetime. 4-H is America's largest youth development organization, empowering nearly 6 million young people across the U.S. with the skills to lead. In Carroll County in 2019, we had 420 members with an additional 381 enhancement programs in the schools, bringing 4-H in Carroll County to a grand total of 708 lives influenced by 4-H. Since October 1st, we have already gone from 10 clubs to 13 clubs. 4-H is guided by adult mentors and volunteers. In 2019, our 299 volunteers and leader volunteer hours were valued at $25.46 per hour. Carroll County 4-H volunteers totaled in at $204,928. We appreciate your support and to help us reach more kids with the hands-on learning experiences they deserve in life and their careers. Thank you. I'm Georgia Patterson, and I'm just going to tell you a little bit about how 4-H has impacted me. So I've been a member officially for about 14 years, since I was 5 years old. But I attended meetings before then with my older brothers. And I've also been a member of the poultry team since then as well. So I showed the chicks in the county fair. I've also raised dairy and beef cattle and fryer rabbits.
And 4-H has given me the opportunity to participate and compete in events on the district, local, county, state, and even the national level. In 2016, I was on the state FCS team, and we got the opportunity to go to Denver, Colorado, and compete there. And we placed 5th in the nation, so that was a really fun trip. And in 2018, my record book was chosen at the state level, and I was selected as a delegate to represent Arkansas at the National 4-H Congress last fall. That was a really neat experience. I learned a lot and met so many people. And 4-H has given me leadership skills and taught me the importance of community service and allowed me to meet so many new people and new faces that I still keep in contact with those people, so that's something else that 4-H gives you. And thank you for your support of our county, because it really means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. My name is William Colt White, and we take pop tabs for the Arkansas Children's Hospital, and why I started doing that is because my cousin, he died from cancer, and that was his doctor, and we just wanted to raise the money for his doctor, the doctors at that hospital, and last year I was the champion of Arkansas State with 185 pounds.
And then with the Arkansas Children's Hospital collection of pop tabs, they collected 165 pounds total, and then someone else donated 20 more pounds to make them 185 pounds. Carroll County had the largest amount of donations this year with 547 pounds, totaling the amount of $210.06.
Are we out of time?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Arlie?
Hi, my name is Arlie Birchfield, and I am the treasurer of Grandview 4-H Club, and sometimes we volunteer at the food bank. At the food bank, we help restock shelves and make snack packs for the schools. It feels good to know that we are helping people in need. Thank you. Hi, I'm Hank Birchfield, and I am the vice president of the Grandview 4-H Club, and we collect coats for the Couple Love Ministry in Eureka, and last year we collected 155 coats, and we have already for this year we have collected 50 coats, and we are wanting to raise a lot more. Thank you. Hi, I'm Eli Birchfield, and I'm in the Grandview 4-H Club. Last December, we went to the nursing home to do door wrapping. We also went to the Holly House to make hot cocoa and sing. We made Valentine cards for families that like to be in 4-H. Thank you. Hi, I'm Rose, and it was really hard to find a good club that I can join because I'm allergic to many different things outdoors until we stumbled into 4-H. I love the community service club because we can donate food sacks to our schools to the people that need it. And some things I'm excited to do is shop with the cop, chili cook-off fundraiser, and make boxes for cats at Turpentine Creek. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Amy Patterson, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the food plot that I'm doing for 4-H. These are some of the pictures of my food plot, and that turnip that she's holding is a turnip that I've grown from the food plot. And that picture of the deer is off our trail camera, and I'm hoping to get a couple of them this year. And I've also got a dairy herd of cows. It's small, but it's growing, that I've shown in the fair, and I've showed chickens and rabbits too. Thank you.
Thank you all.
I'd like to say, young lady, we didn't get started clapping when she was up for the first time, but we do appreciate you representing us on the state and national level.
You're all invited to our banquet, and I gave you a little green card today and gave you a little snack to go along with that. And Jimmy Warren is actually going to be doing our smoking our dinner for us that night, so please come out that afternoon. You can deer hunt in the morning and come see us for lunch.
Thank you.
We're going to sneak out now.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Matt, would you like to introduce your...
Ron was Mercy here.
Good afternoon. I'm here really just to provide an update, primarily about the financials, to share those with you, as well as just some proposed to hospital board members. So you have a copy of this, and just in brief, at a glance, we are still, of course, a critical access hospital that we're licensed for 25 beds. We have 133 co-workers presently. We have 21 clinic and hospital providers. And for volunteers, we have 237 hospital auxiliary volunteer members and 6 chaplains. Our board of directors on slide 4. Jason Tennant is a new board chair that started this fiscal year. Lacey Powell from Green Forest, Bobby Thurman, Berryville, Richard Harp from Berryville, Doretha Walker from Berryville, Sandy Martin is pending your approval from Eureka, and Dr. Charles Horton pending your approval from Berryville. And then our corporate members are Charlotte Rankin, she's our Chief Operating Officer and the Chief Nursing Officer at Mercy Northwest, Arkansas in Rogers. And then Dr. Stephen Goss, the President of Mercy Clinic Northwest, Arkansas at Rogers. And then Dr. Richard Taylor, he became Chief of Staff, and so he transferred over from a community member to a corporate member, as the Chief of Staff does. And then Sister Cabrini, which many of you may know as one of the Sisters of Mercy. Our next page, on page 5, are our specialties and services. I don't think any of those have changed since I was here last time visiting with you. And then as the following page, on page 6, is our accreditations. Again, those have remained, and we're real proud of those. On page 7 is a statement of our revenue and expenses for the past fiscal year. And in brief, our total operating revenue, we were budgeted basically at $16.5 million, and we came in just slightly under that at $16.4 million. Our total expenses was budgeted for $16.5 million, and we came in a little bit under that at $16.4 million. So our net operating income, we were near zero balance. We were actually under $37.32. And our revenue deductions have been challenging this past year because they really have changed. Our next page is really just some examples of what we're doing to live our mission. And our traditional charity care was $251,000. Our community benefit programs and activities is $55,000. Not all of that got reported this year, and when we made the transfer from the Springfield community to Rogers or Northwest Arkansas, part of how those were reported changed a little bit, so we'll do a little bit better in capturing those this year. But those are some of the things that we do that would be donations or sponsorships or programs and volunteers like Loaves and Fishes, etc. Our unreimbursed Medicaid was $181,000, so for our total community benefit was $487,000. A few new additions that we're real excited about. We have Dr. Osborne, and so he's what we call an integrated Mercy physician, so he's a Mercy employee, and he works in the emergency department full-time. He started in July, so we're really happy to have him. Dr. Jonathan Fawcett, which some of you may have already met, is a family practice physician, and he moved here with his family and started July 1. And Dr. Jesse Taylor is a gastroenterologist, and he's a visiting specialist that comes regularly. So we're really excited for those additions. And then towards the future, access to care is still one of our top priorities that we're looking at. We've had Green Forest Clinic open now just about almost a year. We reopened November of last year. We're continuing to recruit physicians, and we have some pending, but until everything's formally signed in a contract, I really can't share that publicly, but just know there's more coming. And then our community outreach, just some of those meetings and events that we continue to work on. We started helping with the high school athletics here in Berryville. We're sending a physical therapist to the home games, and he's also helping with some of the injury calls through the week as needed, as well as Dr. Fawcett has volunteered, and he's attending the home games as well for any physician assistance with injuries. We're still helping with Good Shepherd, and we did some assistance with the Department of Health flu vaccinations. We continue to support Loaves and Fishes, I think I mentioned. Bright Futures, Back to School Bash, Thrift Store are some of those examples. We did have our 50th anniversary of the hospital here in Berryville, and saw some of you there as well, so we had a really good turnout, and I appreciate everyone's support for that. And that's really it. I tried to be brief, but did you have any questions or comments?
Would you mind sending this to me in like a PDF or JPEG format, and
Sure.
I can put it as a resource on our webpage?
Be glad to. Sure.
Jeff?
I want to ask you one thing. There's a hospital system set up by the state with a different levels of care that is attributed to each hospital. We are level 1, level 2, level 3.
You mean trauma care, maybe?
Yeah. So looking at Mercy Hospital here in Berryville, what level are you at?
We're not a designated trauma center. I think maybe you asked that, I remember now, or some kind of comment. The reason that we're not a trauma designated facility, you have to have a full-time surgeon on staff. And Dr. Flake, we love him, and he works full-time, but he is not doing just full-time surgeries. Yeah. And we are certainly, we're working on some stroke recognition and accreditation. Certainly we're doing a lot of stroke awareness and treatment, but it's kind of a mixed, I would just say informally, there's mixed thoughts about the trauma designation. It's a lot of record keeping. It's almost a full-time FTE for that, but you've got to have the specialties involved to be able to comply with that. We do still see trauma, and some of our ED physicians would tell you, as they've told me, we see about the same kinds of things that you would expect to see about any other place, but just not as many numbers. So.
Okay.
Like you mentioned, I know the criteria for the trauma bill is going up and the funding is going down.
Yes. We certainly don't want that to be any kind of indicator of the quality of care you're going to receive. I feel very good about our physicians and our staff there, the nursing staff as well as the ancillary staff that support that care. And we continue to work and want to keep best practices. So, thank you. Yes.
Is the thrift shop store still open in Green Forest?
Almost. We're about 2 weeks away from our reopening, and for those of you who may not know, that's our hospital auxiliary. That's really their ministry, is to provide that thrift store help to the Green Forest community. And the building that they were in on the square was really unsafe. We had some trusses that were fractured, and we had engineers come in to stabilize those, but it was going to be incredibly costly because you're going to have to redo it from bottom all the way up. So it's taken quite some time to secure another property in Green Forest, and so we did find a rental property. I believe it's 403, don't quote me, I'll have to look up the address, but it's the old beauty shop, as some of you may know, across from Butterball. And so we're renting that from the landlord. And we've been having to do the construction and the remodeling inside ourselves. And so been working some evenings and every weekend for a while, painting the outside of it, just doing several things to make it fit our needs. And we anticipate probably within the next 2 weeks to be able to reopen that. So it's been kind of a long process, but certainly we appreciate everybody's patience, and you should see that reopening very, very soon.
What do the proceeds go to?
They go back to the auxiliary, and then the auxiliary does some different things with those funds. They do scholarships. They do generally help the hospital with some capital equipment. We know that they bought 2 wound care chairs specifically designed for those needs that helps our outpatient services, which is a hospital outpatient department, and Dr. Flake in particular works in that clinic, sees the wounds, and they're very complex wounds and hard to get to and so forth, so those chairs really make it easier to do some of the debridement and so forth that needs to be done.
Thank you, you're out of time.
Sorry.
Thank you. Ms. Farrell, would you like to introduce your guest?
Yes, thank you. Mr. McMath came in tonight to talk to us. Eastern Arkansas Natural Sky Association, he's the chairman, and he's going to talk to us about light pollution and responsible lighting and what the association is doing in Carroll County in regards to those issues and why we should care.
Appreciate the invitation and the opportunity to speak to you. I was driving up here and I was thinking back on my rather sparse connections to Carroll County. The first thing that popped in my mind, strangely enough, was my older brother telling me a very interesting story about when he spent the night in the jail here one time. And then I recall the time when I had to bail a friend out of jail, here in Berry County, in Berryville, in the Carroll County. Both of those connected to having too much fun in Eureka Springs. Is what it boils down to. Fortunately, I've not had any of those. The closest I've come to the law here in Carroll County was meeting the sheriff in the bathroom about 5 minutes ago. So, at any rate, but I once represented a great number of wonderful people who lived over east of Green Forest who lost their groundwater due to effluent from the Tyson's plant. Some of y'all may remember that in the dry creek basin over there. But otherwise, I've had no dealings here. But I wanted to talk to you about a different form of pollution, and that's light pollution. Now, it wasn't too long ago, you say something about light pollution, and people would say, what kind of pollution? Light what? Most people have probably heard of it now, but they, for the most part, think of it as just losing the stars, not being able to see the stars, an aesthetic issue. Well, it turns out that night and day, light and dark, are fundamental to the natural circumstance. It's a fundamental to nature. And it turns out that human health and our biology and wildlife are linked to this cycle of night and day. And I'll show you some slides here in a minute. And this has health risks, wildlife impacts that we'll talk about. But there's also, light pollution is wasted energy. Particularly that you see going up in the sky, obviously is serving no purpose whatsoever. And to that extent, it's wasted money, and it contributes to greenhouse gas emissions and all the other pollutions that go along with generating energy. So there are a lot of downsides to light pollution. And the truth of the matter is we've gotten where we are by simply not being aware of the consequences or the need to be effective and efficient in the use of artificial light. Until recently, light was always deemed to be good, never bad, and more was better. And it's just not the case. There's another issue for a place like Carroll County, though, and that is, since the modern world is losing its natural skies, what happens when we lose something? What happens when something becomes scarce? People start to want it. And night skies are becoming an attraction to people, urban people who've lost their skies, want to vacation or tourist or have vacation homes in places that still have their dark skies, or move to these places. People are literally moving in order to be able to experience nature at night again. And so the materials I handed out, the first thing in there is a little light pollution map of the northwest part of the state. And due to the Buffalo River and the Ozark National Forest, we have a relatively large segment of nearly naturally dark skies, and in the southeast part of your county in particular, enjoy those skies. You go east from here, and there's almost no place in the country that has anything remotely like this. On the next page, I just summarized, I normally give about a half an hour talk on this. I'm boiling this down to a few minutes. These are slides out of my talk. I summarized all the various harms that come from light pollution. But what I want to point out to you is a coal-fired light bulb, 100 watts left on all night for a year, generates almost a half a ton of carbon dioxide. So you can see, if we save energy here, we can make a big impact on carbon emissions. I mentioned the health issue. The American Medical Association in 2009 issued its first public health statement about the risks of exposure to light at night. The bottom line is we have receptors in our eyes that are not there to see, they're there to detect the presence of light or darkness. And those key our hormonal processes. We go into a different hormonal set at night, and then when the sun comes up and the light, when we detect that light in the morning, daytime hormonal process starts. And the consequence of exposing ourselves, particularly the blue spectrum, as we'll see, to light at night is to delay or suppress that response which messes with our sleep and poses a risk of increased risk of diabetes, depression, obesity, breast and prostate cancer, all of which are epidemic in the modern world. In 2016, they came out with another warning. This was based upon their concerns with the transition to LED lighting. LED lighting is much more efficient, and it's got a lot of virtues to it, but one of the problems initially was they had a lot of blue light in the spectrum, which is what impacts biology, human and wildlife. And they expressed concerns about that and urged that we use efficient lighting, that we avoid overlighting, and we shield lighting so that we put it where it needs to go. They also mentioned glare being a disability glare, which we see more and more of all the time, being a safety concern. I won't elaborate on that given the time, but basically there's a reason we have shades on our lights in our house. And when you're exposed to the source, it reduces your visibility. Anybody that sat around a fire in the woods before, a bright fire, has seen that black barrel. You're like you're in a black barrel, and that's because your eye adapts to that fire or an open fixture, and it actually reduces your visibility over what it would be if you properly shielded it. The next slide just talks about the encroachment on wildlife. It impacts navigation, breeding, feeding, mating, and so forth. The Audubon Society is particularly concerned with the impact on birds. Now, the next slide is about the Buffalo National River. It was designated earlier this year as an International Dark Sky Park. My organization worked with them for 2.5 years to get that done. The reason they're doing that is two things. One, the need to protect the habitat for wildlife, and two, it's a tourist attraction issue. If they lose their night skies, there'll be damaged goods as a natural place that people go to. People want nature at night as well as day now, and so the park was designated, and they have an extensive program, public program about their natural nighttime environment. The next slide is where my organization is attempting to help businesses, host businesses, campgrounds, cabins, lodges, and so forth, make their presence awareness, make the public aware of their existence, so that these companies can get on our website. It's free of charge if they observe responsible lighting practices, and the public can go there and find places to recreate. So what are the solutions here? We don't have to give up artificial light, but what we have to do is light responsibly, and there are 4 basic premises to that. Only light when where needed, which means using efficient, fully shielded, properly aimed fixtures. Only light when needed, which means using curfews, motion sensors, timers, and switches. Avoid overlighting and use appropriate color light for the purpose. And this next slide shows the importance of shielding and lighting where it is putting light where it's actually needed. And you see this fixture here is a very common, called barnyard light frequently, fixture. You see it all over the place. Most residences that have an outdoor dusted-on light, that's what they've got. This fixture only puts 35% of the light it generates in a useful cone. The rest of it is going out, creating glare, as shown here, or up in the sky. You could hardly design a fixture to waste more energy. The new LED fixtures allow you to aim this light and put it right where you need it to go. And so we have talked to Carroll Electric. My organization, we met with Carroll Electric to talk to them, and some of the other costs for that matter, but Carroll Electric, we went to them first, in part because they serve the middle part of the Buffalo River, to talk to them about providing more appropriate modern fixtures for their customers. And they agreed to put out new zero-up light, that means no light goes up, LED security lights for their customers, and to do it at the right color. And we were tickled to death. The problem is they made it too bright.
Thank you, you're out of time.
Time out of time.
Thank you so much.
So, anyway, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Morning.
So you want to ban these barnyard lights? And I realize everybody on the diagram but it's not shining, you know, it shines out.
Right.
Well, what if you need that light out there? You don't need it.
We don't want to ban anything.
Well, that's what it says.
Huh? Oh, well, okay. You're right, that is what it says. But you're not talking about legally banning it, we're talking about people deciding to use the public fixtures.
Who is the they that you keep talking about the warnings from?
Say again?
Who is the they that you keep saying the warnings are from? Warnings are they say.
Well, the scientific community, the American Medical Association, the Illumination Engineering Society, the people who...
Corporations that are basically gonna make money when you change the lights.
Well, the Illumination Engineering Society is a professional organization of people who design lighting. They're lighting designers.
Right.
Yeah.
So they
Now, some of them work for corporations.
So they recommend what light we should have, correct?
Right.
All right. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Janet, you want to introduce your guest?
Sheriff here would like to talk to us a little about, an idea of trying to enhance the ability to take care of the medical situation with the jail, I believe.
Thank you all for your time, and because it's short, I'll get right to it. In my opinion, one of the biggest problems, need that we have at the sheriff's office complex is third-party medical coverage service at the detention center. And I hope to make that case that for just a few $100 more per month, we can get a whole lot for our money. If you'll turn with me to page 3 in that, the paper you got, actually, page 3 is page 4. Page 1 is page 3, excuse me. It says services offered to the county. Listen right here. It's boring little bit, I'm just gonna start from right at the top and read it verbatim, so we all read the same thing. This proposal is based on our experience in life-size jail facilities and based upon discussions you've had with our regional sales manager, Tim Quintana. In his understanding of the healthcare needs, we want to build a program that best meets the requirements of Carroll County and the inmates, and therefore, we're open to further discussion as to service options and coverage schedules. This is just a list of what we will be buying for our money. Nursing staff, nurses, LPNs, MTAs working in the jail 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. There will be no coverage for if Southern Health Partners designated holidays and weekends. Southern Health Partners recognize that change is hard. That's why we believe retraining the current nursing staff is of utmost importance. We welcome the current staff to apply for the new positions, and we'll always give them first consideration. The medical team administrator. The medical team administrator, the LPN, will be our on-site manager and will utilize his or her background in medical administration and experience to serve as the primary liaison between Southern Health Partners and the jail's administrative staff. This position will work on-site under a set schedule, excluding holidays and reasonable time off for illness and holidays, vacation. The medical director, a provider, an MD, MP, PA, will visit the jail for 2 hours every 2 weeks to see any inmate as referred by the nurse. The medical director will be on call to the nurses at all times. Medical preparation. Southern Health Partners will prepare all medications for the officers to pass around to the inmates. Physical appraisal, TB testing, sick call. Medical staff would perform inmate physical appraisals and TB testing, manage chronic care, and hold regular sick call sessions. Behavioral health. Our program and pricing allow us to manage most non-emergent mental health complaints inside the jail using our current physical provider and medical staff is proposed. Outside referrals for treatment plans may be necessary given the patient's condition and or diagnosis. Southern Health Partners will work in conjunction with our guidance counseling to ensure that the mental health needs of all patients are met. Bill scrubbing, and you might want to ask me about this one. Southern Health Partners has included an optional bill scrubbing service for your consideration. If selected as part of our administrative services to the county, Southern Health Partners will review all bills for outside services and then prepare a statement for the county of all approved payments based on the inmate's actual status within the facility. Avoiding the potential overpayment or payment for unnecessary services, all savings are then passed directly to the county. Cost pool, here's another different kind of term. Southern Health Partners has provided an option to include a $30,000 cost pool to cover the cost of on and off-site labs, on and off-site dental services, on and off-site x-ray services, all prescription medication, and all medical and mental health services that cannot be reasonably performed on site. If the total amount of $30,000 is reached in any given year, the county will be billed directly for any overages. If the total amount of $30,000 is not used in any given year, Southern Health Partners will refund 100% of the unused funds to the county. See the price responsibility table for more info, and we'll look at that. Officer training. Upon request, Southern Health Partners will provide training to officers working in the jail to clarify responsibilities between the nurses and the officers, as well as offer additional medical training about various topics of importance in a jail setting. We believe further training will reduce liability regarding jail medical services while delivering officers with additional tools and resources to better enable them in their position of growth. CPR training may be conducted when trainers are available at an additional cost to Carroll County. Liability risk. Now this is the kicker. This is why we really want to get your attention. Southern Health Partners provides medical professional liability insurance of at least $1 million per claim, $5 million annual aggregate covering all of our services performed under the resulting contract arrangement, including the physician services if he or she requests coverage through Southern Health Partners. Also, we name Carroll County as additionally insured and will indemnify and hold harmless Carroll County for liabilities concerning our medical care responsibilities. We'll turn to the following page. This just shows you what the script will do for the doctor and for the nurses. And keep turning. This is a comparison of what Southern Health Partners provides compared to what the county provides. In column 2, in the middle of the page, you see those items with green asterisks beside them. If you'll notice at the bottom, it said, if selected, these services are included in the cost pool. All prescription medications, off-site medical services, off-site mental health services, x-ray services, on-site and off-site dental services, off-site and on-site and clinical lab procedures. Keep turning. Now this is where we start talking money. The total cost of this, if you look at the center of the page, our annualized base price, this is talking about base price now, annualized base price for option 2, to furnish 40 hours per week coverage for ADP at average daily people in jail is $113,220 annually. That's $9,435 per month. But just think about this as though you're buying a car and you don't want to buy one without air conditioning, and that's what we're talking about there. If you'll notice, we'll back up to a little bit to the page where it says value-added options. There is an option of claim adjudications and bill scrub. Now, bid struggling is just where you get some people that are professional at this. They have people that know what they're doing. They have a computer program, software that knows exactly what should be paid on any given occasion, and this will save an awful lot of money. Our secretarial staff does that now, to the best of their ability. But I think these people probably do a lot better. It's in their best interest and ours to do so. Keeping in mind that base price of $9,435 a month, just go ahead and turn to the next page. Do you understand cost pooling, or should I try to explain it to you? Cost pooling. At the end of the year, Southern Health Partners will put $30,000 in the bank with our name on it. And whenever someone gets sick, goes to the dentist, goes to the hospital, whatever that cost is, it's going to come out of that $30,000. Now, they're not giving that to us. That's what we're going to pay them back at the cost of $2,500 a month. If that $30,000 is used up, then we pick up all of the rest of the expenses. If we don't spend $30,000, we go
Thank
back
you,
in.
Sheriff, you're up, Tom.
Thanks, sir.
Any questions, Jeff?
Yes.
So we kick in $30,000 at the beginning of the year, and we pay it, in other words, we're just paying it out and make monthly payments.
And you gotta understand that option there adds to the cost of the overall. If anyone wants to know what that would be.
Yeah.
So mentions in here the nurses you have, we're gonna give them an option to go to work for them?
Yes, I read it, it said that whoever's there gets first option at the job if they want, if they're qualified. I can imagine why they would not be.
No.
Sheriff, we looked at this several years back, and Lamont Ritchie did a cost comparison on it, and I think we'll turn back to the top cheaper to you as we are. Has a cost increase enough that we think we do this? And also, are you comparing this to maybe other companies, like Turkey, because Boone County just decided to deal with them? And then my last question real quick, on this liability risk, actually, this Southern Healthcare provider is providing stuff, but actually you're liability to their own selves, not us. Is that right?
For us. So it says the oldest harmless, the last line.
If we're providing the health service, and a liability suit comes up against the health service that they got, it would be them, wouldn't it? Not necessarily Carroll County. You know what I mean? If I was going to sue a doctor, I'd sue he would have to provide protection to not be sued, not necessarily
Let's just all read that again, so that,
okay.
we can. That's a common liability risk. Southern Health Partners provides medical professional liability insurance coverage of at least $1 million per claim, $5 million annual aggregate, covering all our services performed under the resulting contract arrangement, including the physician services if he or she requests coverage through Southern Health Partners. Also, we name Carroll County as additionally insured and will indemnify and hold harmless Carroll County for liabilities concerning our medical care responsibilities.
Ms. Carroll, next.
So there's a whole lot of information I'm trying to take in, and I'm just curious, like the nursing hours, 5 days a week, how does that compare to what we currently have?
What we currently have, ma'am, is 2 part-time nurses who have to work just a little bit under 20 hours a week.
So this provides a lot more availability of nurses on.
One thing I would like to say is that, in that regard, we have 2 nurses and a doctor. The doctor he doesn't charge us for what he does. At some point, he will decide that he's had enough, and that's reasonable. And at that point, then we don't have any choice but to go out and cast around for a doctor. We won't find one who'll work for nothing. And at that time, we'll pay a lot more and what I'm suggesting we're gonna pay if we use Southern Health Partners. Get back to your point about turnkey. I was talking to Jack today. He was reminiscing about, you all had talked about this a couple of years ago. And it just so happens that the jail administrator at that time used to be over Boone County, and he represents turnkey, the same business.
Yeah.
This is not the same as that, it's a different, and we've talked to Danny, this is a different deal.
Sorry.
I may be getting thick-headed here, but back on page 4, where it talks about the base compensation, now, is this what it's gonna cost us?
No, that's what I was hoping somebody would ask me that question. I believe in your packet there, you have this page here.
Well, this is the one I'm talking about. Okay.
Well, as you notice, as I tried to make an analogy, you know, there's a vehicle you can buy, and it has certain add-ons if you want them. And so that base price, $94.35 per month, that's what you get without bill scrubbing and without the cost pool.
Okay. What I'm asking, this is what it's gonna cost us a year, right?
What it will cost us.
And then the $2,500 we're talking about a month is when we pay back the $30,000 that they put in.
That's all part of the annual.
It's all included in this?
Yeah, $2,500. The total yearly cost for Southern Health Partners is $146,220. And as if we'll compare great length to compare the numbers from 2018 and 2019, the average monthly difference would be about $200 to $300.
Jack, you're next.
Let's show my age, or maybe I'm looking at this, now, you keep talking about 40 hours a week, what happens the rest of the time?
Well, doctors on call 24 hours a day.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're never without somebody to talk to.
So, most of the, whoever you, I understand you're gonna train some of your people to do some of this, or
No,
the nurses you have. You keep talking about 40 hours a week.
The training is to teach them what they're supposed to, what the employees are supposed to do, what the medical staff's supposed to do. And you notice it said that the medical staff, the people that they hire, will provide all the medicine, and they'll dole it out, and they'll list it to everybody there. So we're gonna be getting our money's worth out of it.
That's 24/7 instead of 40 hours a week.
Yeah, well, whatever time of day they get their medicine, they'll be doled out to them.
Larry?
How many hours per day now do we have a nurse on staff?
We have 2 nurses that split up 40 hours a week. So that's 8 hours a day, just minus a little bit to keep them from
So
going.
that probably is the same.
We got the same number of nurses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don?
I know Rainwater said a long time ago that we shouldn't be in the medical business, and we should definitely have somebody providing this service for us and everything. So I agree with who you think's best to go with, but I would be in favor of, and plus you already look like you're spending more money out of pocket than you would pay.
I certainly don't expect y'all to make it mine, so there's a lot to digest right there. I always wanted to answer questions. If you wonder about our methodology and coming to our numbers, I can show you how it all works.
Matt's next.
Will Southern pay all the nurses' salaries and all that?
They pay for everything. For the nurses.
It's like an insurance policy.
John?
Now, is there going to be a nurse there when, in the evening sometimes, you know, when the deputy's bringing a prisoner in that may be sick or needs to go to the hospital, will there be a nurse there to determine to send them over to the hospital, or so I told them to sell them, went to the nurse gets there, clock in?
Obviously, it's going to be 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. If something happens in the night, then a doctor is at the end of the telephone.
Okay.
I mean, if we'll spend the earth if we had nurses and doctors 24 hours a day. Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Carroll? I'll give it.
Do we currently have any liability coverage for our current situation?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
Not in
So,
general.
I mean, and what, you know, what you were saying, it would be their responsibility, but people, when they sue, will sue everybody they can, you know, like we're under. So I think that might ultimately be like a major, like, reason to do this, because it protects the county. We don't have any liability insurance now.
I can tell you, I'm not happy to tell you this, on 3 occasions in the last few months, I have, turned 3 people loose on their own recognizance because one guy hurt himself so badly, it was gonna cost the earth for him to be rehabilitated. He had to have surgery. I'll just tell you what he did. He was out in the exercise ball, cement walls, and he's throwing the ball up against the wall. On the return, he decides to high kick that ball. Well, he threw himself up there and hit the cement floor and broke his hip. Now, this is a 30-something-year-old man. But he ended up in the hospital facing surgery. We had to take one of our jailers, and they sat with him for days on, 24 hours a day. And that's why our comp time is sky high right now.
Sure.
To help answer the question as far as, do they have access to the doctor? Not only do they have access to the doctor, but they actually have a video system set up to where the officer and the inmate can sit there and talk to the doctor and then relay the information to the nurse in order to get whatever health care plan is necessary for that person at the time, or direct them over to the ER if the doctor feels it's necessary. But there is a system in place for that.
Under this system, will there still be issues where inmates are turned away from other inmates?
Yes. Yes.
Because there's nobody there 24/7.
Are you talking about DWIs and that sort of thing?
Right.
Well, that's a whole, that's a whole other issue, and working on a policy for that, so we can all come to an agreement. It's something that doesn't grind anybody's gears, it's just we have to have a policy regarding that. That's a whole other thing.
All right.
Well, I think something that maybe other people look at is you're gonna have a video chat with the doctor or whatever, but really, all that you have now is doctor on the phone most of the time, isn't it? So.
Yeah.
It would actually be a hair cover.
We're looking at
When you talk to us.
We're looking at a change coming, and we're just trying to get ahead of it, and save ourselves some money, I think, in the long run.
All right.
Well, explain a little bit what you're faced with right now. There's not really a physician in Vernon that wants the job, and you're having to communicate with the physician in your spring and tell them what you have going on in the jail, so.
And this doctor has been very generous to us over the years, but it's just becoming more and more seldom. And at some point, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, sir.
Our next item of business, old business. I don't suppose we have any. So we go to new business. Now, Philip, you want to introduce the resolution?
I will. Be it resolved by the Quorum Court of the County of Carroll, State of Arkansas, a resolution being entitled, a resolution confirming the appointment of Sandy Martin and Dr. Charles Horton to the Mercy Hospital Board of Directors. Whereas the county judge has appointed Sandy Martin and Dr. Charles Horton as Mercy Hospital Board of Directors for a 2-year term expiring October 2022. Now therefore be resolved by the Quorum Court of the County of Carroll, State of Arkansas, the appointment of Sandy Martin and Dr. Charles Horton to the Mercy Hospital Board of Directors for a 3-year term is hereby.
John, second. Any discussion? Call for the vote.
J.P. Deaton.
Yes.
J.P. Olson.
Yes.
J.P. Farrell.
Yes.
J.P. Johnson.
Yes.
J.P. Phillips.
Yes.
J.P. Hicks.
Yes.
J.P. Matt.
Yes.
J.P. McNeely.
Yes.
J.P. Hall.
Yes.
J.P. Crawford.
Yes.
J.P. Howerton.
Yes.
Next item of business, B, would you read it, Ms. Connie, please?
Ordinance to amend ordinance number 2018-46, the 2019 budget ordinance to transfer monies from the road department fund 2000-0200 and county fund 1000-0101.
Move to, approve.
Chuck moved it up. Matt second. Any discussion? Chuck?
Judge, what we have here is two different situations. One with the road department where a piece of gear broke down and it needed to be used within a given amount of time, so a replacement had to be rented. So this is no additional cost to the county. We're just moving funds from one line to the other. The second with the clerk is the same process. We're moving money from one line item to another, and the reason for that movement of funds is to buy and replace filing cabinets.
Any discussion? Call for the vote.
J.P. Deaton.
Yes.
J.P. Olson.
Yes.
J.P. Yes. J.P. Johnson.
Yes.
J.P. Phillips.
Yes.
J.P. Hicks.
Yes.
J.P. Matt.
Yes.
J.P. McNeely.
Yes.
J.P. Hall.
Yes.
J.P. Crawford.
Yes.
J.P. Howerton.
Yes.
Looks like the next item of business is J.P. non-agenda items. Chuck?
As you all probably noticed, we've had workmen around the building for the last couple of weeks. What they're doing right now is cleaning, sealing, and painting the outside of the building. They should be done, probably in another week or so. Also, I've got bids in on replacing downspouts. I got bids in on fixing this roof up here, which I haven't done yet, and also bids on tinting the front windows. So, when those bids come in, the appropriate committee will talk about them, and we'll get that information to the Quorum Court.
Anyone else? Chuck?
The rescue team has asked me to invite you to an open house tonight, as soon as you get through here down to the airport. They've done a lot for the gentleman who passed away not too long ago. Danny Hines done a lot of work out there before he passed away. He's been on the rescue team for several years, and they just show what they've done out there, and thank you guys for doing what you do. There's some snacks and stuff involved.
Done.
I'd like to recognize J.P. Hicks about his award he got for being the police officer of the year for Carroll. And it's awesome that he had such a fine, outstanding policeman on the Quorum Court.
Gonna be good for one free ride, isn't it? Anybody else? Yeah?
The budget committee is, I think, for the third time we've met. We're getting after it pretty good. We've still got a long way to go. Our plan is to present you in November this year instead of late, is what we've come up with, so.
Anyone else?
Connie has made us a schedule that we haven't ever really had before, and it's working out well. So I just want to commend her on that.
Anyone else? If not, thank you all for coming. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Chuck second, all in favor?